Hey everyone out there, how's it going? Welcome to Screen Speak. It's the podcast that's all about movies, life, and so much more. My name is Jordan Anderson, this is my podcast, and I want to thank you all for coming by and giving it a listen. If this is your first time here, well, welcome to Screen Speak. Don't make me say the introduction again. You can just rewind it 10 seconds and then you can hear it. But welcome. Welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Pardon the sarcasm. It's just the mood that I'm in right now. If you have been here before and you haven't done this, go ahead and do so. Hit that follow button, hit the bell, download episodes if you want to for offline usage. Maybe you have like a long airplane flight for all I know. And actually, I don't think that's how anybody says that. Airplane flight? Yeah, one of my five. You have a long flight perhaps ahead of you and you would like to listen to my pleasant voice while you're at 30,000 feet above the earth, whatever, right? Want to do that? You can listen to Screen Speak and download episodes and check that out. Otherwise, social media, Instagram, Facebook, that's where this podcast lives right now, so you're welcome to check that out. Content gets posted there. People tend to chat. It's what social media is kind of all about. So go ahead and get involved with Screen Speak on that, or just mainly hit the follow button. That would probably be the biggest ask that I would have of you at this point. So please go ahead and do that, and you're going to forever, eternally be in my good graces. Like, even when I'm dead, I'm still going to know that you hit that follow button, like beyond the grave, or I'll haunt you or something. Actually, that sounds like a threat when I say it like that. So I promise, you know what? Even if you don't follow and I die and I don't have the eternal gratitude or whatever it is I'm trying to say, I think the joke that stemmed in my head from this is now spiraled out of control, and now it's off the deep end. So I think I'm just going to move on past that and get into the episode, okay? So in this episode, I talk with Jake Daniels and Michael Huntington, both Iowa filmmakers that were in attendance at the 2023 Cedar Rapids Independent Film Festival that pretty much I just hit it off with at the festival. And I just decided on the spot, I was like, you know what? Both these guys, I know one of them has a movie that's in the festival, the other does not, but I don't really care. I just really like talking with both of them. And so I spontaneously asked them, hey, I want to record a conversation with you. Let's go ahead and do it and just see where it goes. And I'm really glad that I did that. We, of course, talk about movies, but most of the conversation was actually spent talking about the experience of attending film festivals, as well as what they both have coming up in terms of their own projects, work, film initiatives, etc. And just a comment for a moment about their thoughts on experiencing festivals. I really sincerely loved hearing their perspectives about the film festival experience from a filmmaker and audience level on a festival. I really think that this episode is a great one for anyone to listen to that has either a passive or maybe even serious interest into the world of film festivals, because Jake and Michael break it down so clearly with their personal insights, and they share the benefits that you can take away by attending and also supporting film festivals. So I just feel like on that front alone on the conversation, I actually learned a lot by talking to them. And they also shared a great deal about other film festivals that are in the state of Iowa, some of which I was familiar with and some that I was not. So again, if you have an interest in film festivals, specifically Iowa ones for that matter, listen to that portion of the conversation if nothing else, because you're going to get a lot out of it. Regarding the two of them, they do have a few things going on that I promised the both of them I would plug into the podcast, and I'm definitely excited to do so because it's really cool stuff. So first, starting with Jake Daniels, not Jack Daniels. I'm sure he probably gets that joke all the time. I don't think I make it to him in this conversation, but still, it's a cool name, Jake Daniels, whatever. You're associated with the booze, whiskey. There are worse things to be associated with. But, okay, getting serious here. So Jake is actively working on starting a film studio here in Iowa. It's called Mediaverse Studios. I would consider this to be a pretty big undertaking for anybody to do, starting a film studio, let alone here in Iowa. But I can tell you after meeting with him and talking with him in this conversation and beyond that the guy has drive, he has talent, and he has a network of people that he already has, but he's also building it out even further in order to make this vision of his happen. And so that's one of the things that we talk about in this episode is the nature of this studio. Where is it going to be located at? What are the logistics of putting it together? What does he need in order to make this happen? We talk about all of that. So if anyone is looking to learn more about Mediaverse Studios, or Jake Daniels for that matter, go ahead and check out all the description content in this episode. I have information on Jake himself if you want to talk to him. I have information on his upcoming studio, Mediaverse Studios, so definitely check that out. I'm sure he'll be thrilled if you do. And, you know, when you're there, if you do reach out to him, say that you heard it from ScreenSpeak, and that'll probably be even better. Also, Mediaverse Studios does have a YouTube channel that is up already, and I'm told soon that it will be releasing an entire video tour of the studio. So when it does drop, go ahead and follow him on his YouTube channel on there so that when that tour video drops, you can see firsthand what it looks like. And maybe you yourself have a project if you're here in Iowa and you can maybe get involved with him on that level. That would be amazing for him and also just amazing for Iowa film for that matter. So definitely check that out. I think myself, I'm likely almost definitely going to be paying a visit at some point this year, I would like to say, to the studio. So Jake, if you're listening, hit me up on that. I definitely want to come and check out the studio when it's at a level that you feel comfortable having visitors come and pay a visit, just hang out, etc. I'm definitely down for that, and I would love to cover that more once it takes shape, so let me know. As far as the second gentleman that I have on here, his name is Michael Huntington. So Mike has started a film production company called Cintree Films, and that's spelled Cintree. Cintree Films. All the information on that is, of course, in the description for this episode, and we also talk about it in the podcast as well. Michael is also involved with Jake in getting Mediaverse Studios off the ground. So likewise, if anyone that's listening wants to learn more, they want to support it, whether it's just through, hey, attaboy, keep doing it, or they want to actually throw their wallet at it and include some financial support, which who's going to turn down money? That's what I'm trying to say. Money makes these things happen, okay? Like no one likes to say the word money. Money. I'm saying it. It has to happen. Not saying that they're out there shaking their tin cups to try to get that money. I think they're going to go about it in more strategic ways. But still, crowdfunding is absolutely a real thing. And if they do decide to take that approach for this, which I don't know if they're doing or not, they would love to, I'm sure, have your support in any way that you're able to provide it. So please, let's go ahead and support our local filmmakers, support people that have a passion for doing this stuff, like myself for that matter. And let's just make this stuff happen and make the best content possible. That's what we're all about, right? All right. I got nothing else to say on this introduction, so let's just get into it. Enjoy my conversation with Jake Daniels and Michael Huntington. There's no real pressure on that, but appreciate you both coming on here. And I actually had you both on because I saw that there is a tattoo.
Yes.
There's a tattoo, and I think you should tell people about that.
Yeah, so we have a tattoo. We all have them on different locations. Mine's on my forearm. Jake's has his on the back of his arm. But it says, we love making movies. And we actually shot like a whole mini documentary about why we got it. But really, it's just a thing that we say on set when times get tough, because we all love making films, but making films is probably one of the worst things to do because you get stressed, you don't sleep, it's not a lot of fun, but when we're having one of the hard days, we all take a minute and we say we love making movies, because it just reminds us why we're here in the first place.
Yeah. And
that's just because we love making movies, and it's just something we've been saying for the last, couple of years. Yep. And I think Damien Alamancino, he's like one of our best friends in this whole thing. I think it was his idea that we should do it. It was sort of a joke at first, but he found a tattoo artist, and we were like, do we want to do this? And so we did it.
Now, I should probably, for the record, clarify your guys' names,
sure,
who you are, what you're doing, that whole thing, so people are like, who the hell are these guys?
Sure. Well, so I'm Michael Huntington. I'm a filmmaker from Coralville. Grew up in Keokuk, but I am a director of photography. I'm also a video editor, sound designer. Sort of do all the things.
Swiss Army man for movies.
That's what I like to be. Yeah.
My name is Jake Daniels. I'm currently living in Walker, Iowa, but soon to be moving to Amana.
Ooh, why the move to Amana?
So I'm going to be starting a kind of a studio. We can get into this in a little bit, but starting a studio business in Marengo. I work in Cedar Rapids, so Amana is kind of like the good middle ground between the two cities.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice, very, very cool. And how'd you guys meet? Because obviously, we talked about the tattoo, but you guys must have met before that.
Yeah, so I also used to have a podcast. I hosted it with Dylan Yeager. It was called Indie Social, and it was essentially a podcast where filmmakers would come on that were local, and we would talk about their film, try to promote them. And Jake stumbled upon one of the live streams and was sort of a listener to the show.
Yeah,
and
as a fanboy.
He was a fanboy. We needed help on a set for one of our Christmas films that we do every year, and I know that Jake sort of dabbles in sound, so I just messaged him and I talked to him over the phone, and I was like, hey, you want to do sound on my film? And then he came and we hung out, and then from there it was just fell in love.
I had never done sound before your film.
Yeah, so he lied to me.
I was just like, yeah, I know how to hold a boom pole.
I can
record that. What's a
Is
boom pole?
that like the general gist of it? Like, like you're just recording the actor's audio, or I mean, like how specific do you get for it?
It depends with who you work with. We also know this really good sound mixer, boom operator. His name's Kevin Thorne, and when you work with him, it's like every actor has a lav. He's also boom operating the whole time, and like his setup is unbelievably fancy. Mm-hmm. For us, it was just a shotgun microphone on a monopod and just a Zoom recorder and hitting record. So it's really however you can get audio in the best way you can, and for us, the least expensive way. So like our setup was very not the ideal way, I would say.
We've gotten better. But
Oh yeah.
But I feel like that's sort of, I mean, just overall a spirit of independent filmmakers is, money. No, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Time? Probably not. Do we have everything we want? No, not really. But all that said, fuck it, you're trying to, execute your vision, and you get creative in those constraints.
Yeah, and I think you can't use excuses to why you can't make a film. Like, if you don't have a camera, use your phone. And like, since we don't have the greatest sound setup, that shouldn't be a reason why we're not making a movie. We'll figure it out and do the best we can with what we have. So there's no excuses when it comes to making films, and we're just going to do it. It doesn't matter the gear. It's going to happen, and we're going to do the best we can.
Well, a lot of it is just story driven too. We just want to tell the story however we can. So like gear, personnel, time, locations, like even if we don't have it, we're going to figure out a way to tell the story. We're all good at problem solving. We're all good at being adaptable. And so that's how we've gotten as far as we have.
What kinds of stories do you both tend to gravitate towards?
I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. I really love coming of age movies, but I haven't made one of those yet. I think a lot of people in filmmaking on an independent level like to go to the horror route of things. I'm completely on the opposite end of that. I hate horror films. So we tend to make, I don't know, almost everything, man. Like almost every genre there is, we are trying to accomplish. I think really, if it's a good story, we're going to make it, whether it's a thriller or a horror film. It's just whatever we're attracted to, we're going to make it. So
I think for a lot of my stories, I just kind of have this running theme of like people are deeper or not what they seem, and so I'm doing one right now that's kind of genre bending because I wrote the same script 3 different ways. So there's going to be an action, a comedy, and a drama. But it's all the same setting. It's all roughly the same story, just going to be told, in a different genre. But there's always some kind of twist, or there's some kind of the person just isn't what they seem or who they seem, and so there's always going to be this like look deeper than what you're seeing kind of motivation. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the movies that I tend to gravitate towards, just broadly speaking, that is certainly ones that make me feel something, and whether that's like, I'm just really emotionally like caught up in these characters' trials and tribulations, and I'm feeling for them, or the ones where you're like, shit, this is making me really think like my own life, and those ones that hit kind of heavy. But then I also just purely like the escapist aspect of it too. Like if I watch a big ass movie like Avatar, like fuck it, let's go to the blue people. I'll connect those ponytails and just fly around, and this is just purely fun. But I don't know, movies just have a lot of different effects like that. But I do think the ones I tend to lean in towards the most are the ones that kind of, as you say, reveal more than what's kind of on the surface.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are actually, a movie I talked about recently with somebody that was at this festival was the Adam Sandler movie Reign Over Me. I feel like that movie never gets attention or love.
I've literally have never heard of it. It's Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler from 2007 with Don Cheadle. It's written and directed by Mike Binder, he's a comedian, honestly, at his core.
No way.
It's heavy subject matter because Sandler's character is a 9/11 widower. Not what you expect from the Adams, the Sandman shtick.
Yeah.
But I bring up that movie because it's a perfect example where there's a person, Sandler's character, who loses his whole family to this plane crash, and he's basically rolling around New York, isolated and alone in a huge city, where you're seemingly never alone, but you are, because there's so many people. And basically he's going through this horrific, terrible struggle, and basically he thinks nobody gives a shit and knows, and then ultimately Don Cheadle's character stumbles across him. They used to be roommates in college, and they reconnect and bond. It's a great story on friendship, but just that's a movie again that sticks to me because of those themes that I just said, where it's just, you would ordinarily, like, you could look at anybody walking along the sidewalk and just be like, fuck them, like, who are they?
Yeah.
But they have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's so crazy, man. I love Adam Sandler with every fiber of my being. Yeah, I've never heard of it, dude.
Yeah.
I've watched damn near every
that movie
Adam
hits
Sandler
deep.
movie. Yeah.
It's got actually a great soundtrack too. You guys both. This is like the dumbest question. You guys like music?
I love music.
No.
I don't tend to listen to a lot of movie soundtracks though, but
Really?
Yeah. No, I think I need to. I really loved. God, what was it that had a killer soundtrack? Man, I guess it wasn't a movie, but it was the TV show Euphoria. I listened to that.
I've
soundtrack.
never seen that show.
Oh my God, they got
it's on my
amazing
list.
music. So good.
TV shows are a bit of a struggle for me, guys, because because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And
it's an investment.
usually, so let's say Euphoria, that show. Now, do you know what season it's in right now? It's 3 or something.
2 or 3. Yeah.
2 or 3.
3. Yeah.
Now, a lot of the times I feel like I run into this problem where someone's telling me this great show and it's I'm in. You got me, this concept, Zendaya, forget about it. She's great.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said forget about it, the Italian guys.
Damon appreciates it.
Yeah.
But then when I hear the seasons, I'm like, okay, shit, so 2-3 seasons, how many episodes? They're like, oh, it's okay, it's just 20. And they're 45 minutes each. I'm just like, shit. Because if I can catch it early enough, that's kind of the key. But then if it's already in its 5th season, I'm screw it, I'll just wait till the series is done and just figure it out. Because I don't got time to sit around for hours and watch something. And a movie, 2 hours, I'm done.
I'm on the complete opposite, man. Recently this year, I've been enjoying TV shows so much more than movies. So much so that I
think the quality is much higher than it ever has been before.
Yeah. Well, then it's just dude, I always tell people this, Apple TV has the best TV shows to have ever been made. Apple does not miss, dude. Ted Lasso, Severance, The Morning Show, all these are great TV shows, and it's made me fall in love with TV, and I've never have. It's always been movies first, TV maybe. But I don't know, man, there's something to watch in TV shows, and I think it's because I'm also a very busy person, but a lot of the shows tend to be 45 minutes, and I'm all right, I'll watch one in the morning, I'll do my stuff, and then I'll come back, watch another one. So I don't try to give too much time to it, and then when you watch a movie, they tend to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm just I get too antsy. Yeah. So I've been really loving TV shows.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No. What about? I was gonna say, what about you? You got some shows?
There's nothing I'm currently watching. I can't think of any shows I'm watching. I just watch a lot of movies when I have time to, but it's just kind of anything and everything that crosses my mind.
I thought you were going to say Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I saw that.
I love that movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Because people are mixed. They either love it or they don't.
Yeah.
Vibe with it so much.
Daniels as filmmakers, they are they're not conventional in the slightest.
Sure.
I love their style though.
They're ballsy. They're very original. I'll get to the answer of your question, but I'll just give shout out to them. It's cool seeing how much notoriety and praise and all the academic acclaim they got, because I first got turned on to them from the Swiss Army Man movie.
Yes.
And I didn't I knew they did Little John's music video and they had done some shit and that's cool, but filmmaking wise, I got turned on to them from that. I'm this is such a weird, fucked up movie, but not in a so weird it's gonna turn people off kind of way. It's if you can kind of buy into what its premise is, you'll have a good time.
I love that the last line of that movie is "What the fuck."
Yeah.
Because
the whole movie's basically been, well, what the fuck?
Dude, the whole thing, man.
But I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again because I've only seen it once. I own the 4K of it because I'm still one of those physical media people. So all day, every day, collect the movies, streaming. Fuck it, when I'm done with it, it fades into the abyss, and I don't like that. I gotta have it on the shelf. So
our good friend over there, actually, Kevin Shepard, he is cataloging all of his DVDs that he has, and he's over 3,000.
Wow.
Over 3,000 DVDs.
I thought you were going to say it's over 9,000 for a second.
Sorry. He's not that good yet, man.
Terrible.
Going back to Everything Everywhere real quick. Have you seen, there's this movie that's like a fellow like precursor to Everything Everywhere. It's like an addendum or something. It's called I Heart Huckabees.
By the Daniels?
It's not by Daniels.
No,
it's just like a spiritual like precursor.
You know, I Heart Huckabees. That's David O. Russell, right? Yeah, pretty sure.
It's got Dustin Hoffman and
isn't like Jake Gyllenhaal in that? Or no, Mark Wahlberg.
Jude Law.
Yeah,
Jude Law, Mark Wahlberg.
It's got a big cast.
It's got an awesome cast, and it's like if Everything Everywhere was made in the 2000s.
It could have been that movie.
Really. Yeah. It's just like this
I've not seen that.
weird existential, like just psychotic movie. It's so funny.
Oh, Jesus.
I just remember
if you liked Everything Everywhere, you would like that.
No, I would definitely check that out for sure.
We went to the theater to see Everything Everywhere All at Once together, and I just remember walking away from the theater, man, being so blown away.
Yeah,
you know, it's like one of the most original things I've ever watched, and I watched it again with my mom. She loved it. I didn't think she would. And I recommend it to anyone, dude. I'm so happy it won the Oscars.
We hadn't known each other very long. I just helped you on the Christmas film, and you're like, "Hey, do you want to go see a movie?" I'm like, "Yeah," and it's Everything Everywhere. We're sitting next to each other, just crying.
It was so good, man. So
I think
good.
the moment in that movie where I think it kind of, if I were to like put a phrase to it, where it's just flexing the most, and it has like it knows how confident it is in itself.
Yeah.
The moment with the rocks.
Yes.
Because you know a filmmaker is able to hold you when you can literally have a scene where it's like you have just two rocks and just
text
fucking the wind going around.
I watched a whole short film about it.
And it goes and you're just like, I can't believe I'm actually invested in this scene right now.
Yeah.
Like that's
very like emotionally invested. Like,
dude. Yeah.
It's heavy.
I remember watching that and I was like, I cannot believe these guys are doing this right now. And it worked like 100%. It's one of my favorite scenes in the film, man.
Also a nice, even like tonally, like it's a hard movie to describe to somebody. If you're,
no way.
I mean, you could say like it's a multiverse movie, but it's a hell of a lot more than that.
So much more, man.
I think the thing I would tell to someone if they're gonna like watch it is I'd be like, oh well, you know, the mother-daughter story. You know, there's definitely a family story. There's an immigrant story. There's science fiction. You got Ke Quan being badass.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in all these great stuff, you also have guards flipping in the butt plugs. So
and sausage fingers.
They're just
absolutely
that's in
absurd.
there.
I would love to just read the script to it, you know, and see like what was in there, what wasn't, and, like or just even talk to like the DP and figure out how the hell are you going to shoot.
Well, and the fact that they had a team of 6 visual effects artists
that's
that did the entire
insane
thing.
To me, man. And I think that's why we love them so much, because they're scrappy. You know what I'm saying? And like they came from doing independent music videos and got this amazing career, but it didn't just happen. Like you can see their progress online, and that the fact that they still work together and they went on to make this Oscar-winning film and have Jamie Lee Curtis and Ke Quan, like his whole comeback into Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, it's been so cool, man.
Well, I talked with my wife actually about it, and weirdly enough, it was our most recent episode. She sometimes comes on my podcast, so she's not like a co-host, but she's been like 4 or 5 episodes. We watched the Nike movie Air.
Oh my god!
But for some reason, we got caught up in talking about release dates and sort of like the cliche model of when movies get released and how it was remarkable for a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I think that came out in like February.
February,
March.
21.
And that's
very
like when
early in the
movies
year.
die, right?
Well, typically, I mean, it's like, you know, we know the cliches. January is like the dumping ground for the shitty horror films and movies that nobody's going to see. February, you have rom-coms and that kind of shit. But the streaming model and just kind of everything that's happened since the pandemic, you're getting a lot higher quality films to come out much earlier in the year. But just the simple fact that movie that is released in February is still, like, made it through the entire year and was, like, it hit still. Like, like people felt its impact just as much as when it released, and it carried that momentum through the year. Like, that's
then it
that's
got
an
re-released.
achievement. Yeah.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
I think they did
I didn't
that.
know.
Yeah.
Well, dude, and like I'm not 100% sure, but was the budget like only $5 million or something like that,
I don't know,
or was
but
it
I know
bigger?
they shot it in like a single
I
location.
definitely know it wasn't not very much. It's like they shot at the IRS or something like that.
Right.
But I just think that's a remarkable thing for movies to be, just to stay in the person's consciousness for that long and honestly go through all the word circuit bullshit and the politics that go into it and everything like that.
It's a movie that has stayed with me to this day, and the fact that it came out like last year, right?
Yeah.
I still think about it to this day, and I still watch behind the scenes videos of it. You know,
I should probably talk to you guys about the films that you're,
sure.
that you're making.
we make
right?
films.
Yeah, we make films.
Oh my God,
we
too.
make films. We love
But I
films.
like it's fun just talking with you guys about just other movies too. Like,
We're down to nerd out about movies.
And that's what our group is, dude. When we go to the theater, we talk about it, and like we have a whole discussion. And
do you guys, like, when you go see a movie together, because you said that you saw this one, the one we just talked about, do you have, like, I don't want to say like a ritual, that sounds culty and strange, but do you, like, know that afterwards is like, let's sit and talk about this?
yeah,
like,
we try to. There's a spot in Cedar Rapids that we love going to called Midtown.
Okay.
And that's sort of like our hangout spot after the film, and we'll just go there and sort of dissect when we can. But it's really like whatever we're interested. I'll message Jake or our film group and be like, "Hey, is anyone interested?" Most of the time, it's Jake who wants to go see a movie.
I love seeing movies.
He loves seeing movies, and there's no big ritual in it, but like. Yeah, we always talk about it as soon as we get out of the theater. It's like, what do we like, what we didn't like. We went to go see Cocaine Bear.
What'd you guys think about that?
Dude, it's technically it's a fun film. It can be cut by like 45 minutes. There's not a lot of cool things in it, but it was entertaining, I would guess.
It's about as entertaining as you can imagine a movie called Cocaine Bear would be.
Yeah.
I felt the movie was a letdown, to be perfectly honest.
I don't think you could ever go in there with too high of hopes.
It's not really in cinema by any means.
I didn't have high hopes, but I can tell you for that one, not that this is a conducive review of this film.
Sure.
But I can tell you with that one, I don't go into that thinking it's going to win an award and stuff like that.
Right.
I just expect a ridiculous premise with a bear high off his ass on cocaine, shredding people up, and gore and just kind of nonsensical stuff, and over the top characters. I think that's what I'm like. Just give me that and we'll be okay.
Right.
But then the problem I have with the movie is that you only have really selective moments where you kind of get what you paid for, which is like, the bear chase and the ambulance chase. Like,
that was
great.
The best scene by
have
far.
stuff like that be the movie instead of giving me basically just shitty characters that I don't care about.
Well,
You're
dude,
beating me over the head with it's the 80s. Did you remember that it's the 80s?
Yes.
Like, they did that a little too much for me.
Well, then there's just like I think there's a bunch of pacing issues, especially spoiler alert. There's the moment where it's like the sheriff is on top of the roof, and like those. I feel like that scene lasted like 30 minutes.
It was way too long.
It was
And
so long.
And poor Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, I know he has another movie coming out
does he really?
after his death. He did it with Charlie Day. He actually Charlie Day wrote and directed it. He's got like a bit part in it.
Okay.
It's coming out soon.
Charlie Day, man.
So at least that's not his last.
Thank God. Yeah, because I was going to say, like, please don't not have that be your lasting legacy.
Yeah. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think a lot of movies are too serious sometimes, so it was nice to go to the theater, just watch some,
But like, I mean, compare that to what do we see? Violent Night,
Yeah. which
was
I have not
similar.
seen. That's the David Harbour like Save to Die Hard movie,
Yes,
right?
dude.
Okay.
Like similar concept, just taking something absolutely ludicrous and it was just brilliant.
It was
Like,
brilliant
so
because
much fun.
it was entertaining throughout the whole thing. Like Cocaine Bear maybe has about 30 minutes of entertainment.
Yeah.
Violent Night, whole way through, entertaining.
Really?
So it's
Definitely
like
wanna see
I
that
wish
one.
Cocaine Bear was Violent Night. As entertaining. But yeah.
No shade to Elizabeth Banks. I think she's a great actress.
I
but
love Elizabeth Banks. Yeah, she's great.
she's had a couple when she's directing a couple that just were like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted a lot more with that movie for sure. But let's talk about this film festival that we're sitting at right now.
Yeah, we're right here.
Fine.
You hear all the people.
Well, what's your guys' experience been with this?
It's been really fun, man. I've enjoyed it a ton. Anytime I get to hang out with my fellow filmmakers and talk about films, their films in particular, and just dissect them, figure out like why they made it, how they made it, and then you get to go, on the screen and see all of their hard work, and I love it. I love coming to film festivals, especially local ones, because you really get to see your peers and what they're doing, what they're working on.
yeah. So I came here last year.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything like entered. I was just kind of getting started in like being a filmmaker and stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw, Cedar Rapids, I work here. I'm just going to show up after work and buy a ticket and just check it out. And granted, last year they were basically redoing the 2020 year, I believe, because they shut down for COVID. So they just kept the whole lineup and did it in 2022.
That's cool.
But in just terms of energy, like this year is so much more intense, right? Like
That's good.
Like last year it was fine. It definitely was a film festival, but like this year, like just the programming, the infrastructure, the marketing, the energy of it is just so much more, and it's been really fun. Like,
what do you think's different about the energy of it? I'm curious about that.
Ooh, I think
it's hard to define. I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
The lineup, the scheduling was jam packed. I think, and they really utilized both theaters to their max potential, and like I think they made it so that you could see just about every movie you wanted to see, and not feel like, oh, I missed out. There's like, oh, okay, tomorrow in the morning I can go see it in this other theater. It's going to be okay.
Well, that, and then I think the amount of filmmakers, because I mean the community is just growing so crazy, man. Because like we joined it back in like maybe 2018, and it felt big then, but like now it's cool that you walk through a theater and you're seeing so many people you don't even know, but they have a film there, and like there were so many. Like I was excited to see these films, and I'm always excited to see people's films, but like I was waiting for their film to come on screen so I could watch it. And like I don't know, it's just the quality of work this year has been just so impressive, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys, it sounds like just between the two of you, you're familiar with other festivals in the state. What are some of the other festivals specific to Iowa that you know about, maybe you've been to?
Sure, there's actually a bunch, man, and all of them have been a great time. Like all of the people who produce it and the directors, like all bust their ass to make this happen, and we're so grateful. But to shout out a few, there's the Snake Alley Film Festival in Burlington at the Capitol Theater. It's so fun to go to. There's another one that sort of goes to different states, but IMPA. A lot of people call it the Oscars of Iowa. Okay. Because it's just
Iowa Motion Picture Association, right? Yep.
Yeah, and they're purely just an award show. They do show films earlier in the day, but it's really to award the filmmakers. So while Cedar Rapids is more of like you get to watch a bunch of films throughout the day, and then there's the award show, it's more so award focused at IMPA. So it's different than most festivals. There's another one called Julian Dubuque Festival, which is sort of one of the more prestigious ones in Iowa that I actually just recently found out, but we had a film selected in there.
Cool.
And there's that one, and then Cedar Rapids Film Festival, and then what else do we got?
There's Interrobang in Des Moines.
There's Muscatine Independent Film Festival.
And there's a new one this year called Farm to Film Fest. My documentary got into that one. That's in Washington, Iowa.
Oh, right on.
What else? There's
a decent amount, man. And you can go to filmfreeway.com. That's what I do. And I just type in Iowa, and then you'll just find the Iowa Independent Film Festival. Just shout another one. But you'll just find so many on there, man.
I've heard that Film Freeway thing be mentioned a few times just throughout the festival itself here.
Yeah.
I think the nice thing about like having you list all those off and be meeting a lot of the people that are here. I mean, it's great for the filmmakers for sure, but I think just the average audience member even doesn't realize that these things are there.
Yeah.
Because I talked with the people that are putting on this festival. I had them on my podcast a while back, and when I kind of asked them the question of like, well, how do people find out about this? They were basically saying, well, like if you're in the movies and making it and stuff, well, you should just already like kind of know this stuff. I'm like, yeah, like that's cool for people that are trying to make a career and a living out of it, but why not just audience members, like just your average audience member? Like I feel like there's a lot more education to be had out there for getting them to do it. But then I also understand too that audience members, their time is limited, so they're if they got kids for the night, they want to be strategic and take them probably to the Mario movie or something. So it's probably a harder sell to be like,
I think so.
Come see like 10 films that are 8 minutes long and have all these like abstract themes and whatnot. But I don't know. Do you think that does that make any sense?
Yeah. Well, I think in general, short films are a hard thing to sell. Just because I think you get more of a story, obviously, when it's a feature film. Mm-hmm. So I think people don't necessarily understand short films fully. So I think it's hard for people to be like, oh, I'm going to go watch a bunch of short films. Like, I feel like that can maybe be a bit confusing to the normal everyday audience goer. But at least with this year, we've had several, feature films that pack the entirety of the theater. And, I talked to a lot of the people that were just there to watch films, and like I was seeing them come in and out. So, I mean, I don't know the statistics this year, but I do feel like there was a lot of just people who were interested. And shout out to Colin Rhodes Theater, man. They did a great job at promoting all of this. And I think it was well in advance, so people knew it was coming. So I think they did have a good amount of just, your average movie theater going.
I can tell you my podcast, so I originally kind of got connected with the festival through doing an interview with Bruce Taylor, the owner of Collins Road Theaters. Right on. And, he mentioned, he's like, yeah, we host CRIF. I'm like, well, what the hell's CRIF? I don't know. I have a stickler thing for acronyms, like when people just say it and assume that I know it. Yeah. I'm like, can you please spell it out a couple times and then you can do the abbreviation? Sure. But I got connected through him, and kind of a neat part about leading up to this was I got to attend a few of the board meetings actually for the festival. Wow. Because Eric and Scott, Scott's the founder of the festival, and Eric, he's the festival director. They're very generous in giving with their time and very open to collaboration and people helping them put this on. And so they basically allowed me to be a fly on the wall in these couple meetings and just be like, just kind of see what you think. Yeah. And, I told them I had some ideas about having my stuff on site here and trying to, help, talk with filmmakers and, do everything there. But I can tell the both of you, I have such a deeper appreciation for all the hard work that goes into just simply the logistics of a festival. Right. Not just like the marketing of it, but just, operating the theater, make sure there's no one lost in the lobby, like just making sure that all the tech gear and everything is working efficiently. Hell, practically there's a whole industry within entertainment that is film festivals, and I had no idea.
Yeah, and I don't know, man, that's why you do have to, appreciate the people that, especially the volunteers here, man. They've all been so great. And
the staff has been so great here.
Yeah, man, it's been so... It's just cool to see these people work so hard to put together this thing, and like whether you get your film in or not, or you get an award or not, it's like the people are really busting their ass to make this happen, and it's no easy feat, man. Like this is hard, and for them to even do this, it's so cool, and as a filmmaker, we appreciate it so much.
Yeah. So.
The one thing that I really appreciated that's unique about this film festival so far was they gave you the opportunity, if you submitted a film, not even if you got selected, my documentary didn't get selected, but I submitted, they gave you the opportunity to talk it over with the judges. They give you some feedback, so I was just on a Zoom call with the judges, just getting feedback on my film. And it was 20 minutes of just solid, wonderful conversation with them, just discussing how can we be better. What are you looking for a festival? What are you looking for as filmmakers? What are we?
So they're kind of getting your feedback as well. Apart from just critiques, like they're kind of asking you like what you're looking for in an experience like this.
Yeah, they told me like you direct the conversation. Cool. What do you want to know? What do you want to know about us? What do you want to know about your film?
Do you take notes during that, or do you I don't know how much like you want to really like take away from, as opposed to just I'm going to take this in right now.
Right, so I probably should have had a notebook there, honestly, because it was a lot of really good advice.
Yeah. Like what? Do you mind me asking specifically, like what kinds of pointers they were throwing out at you?
They were discussing a lot of this, like the through line of my documentary. Here's how, things you can take away to help improve your story. Here's something that one of the judges thought, okay, I kind of got lost in this spot. You can maybe restructure it this way, add some B-roll here. Technically, here's a way you can edit it that is going to make the story flow a little bit better. It could have been, you could have cut this part out. You should have added some more here. So it's just like, and they got granular with it. Like you got a lot of nice detail from them.
Yeah,
it wasn't just
specific.
like, oh, I liked it. It looked good.
Well, that, and then like I don't know if you ever feel the same way, but I think we always wonder, like why we didn't get our film selected, or what what these people thought of our film, and you don't know if they're actually. I mean, as a filmmaker, you wonder like, did they watch it all? Did they get it? Like, like they're not seeing what we're seeing. Like, for the fact that like these people sat down and they really watch your whole, because your documentary is what, 48 minutes, something
like 52 minutes or something.
Yeah, and if the fact that they could give you notes, you just know that they paid attention to everything that was happening in the film.
That's good.
And like that, that's so cool, because I don't think, at least to my knowledge, I don't think anyone has the perk of talking to the judges in the Iowa.
I've never seen it before.
I've never seen that.
There were 99 films submitted to this festival, so those judges watched and took notes on every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like, that was amazing.
And you said that it's not traditional to kind of put that barrier down and be like,
not at all.
We're going to give you access to our panel that is judging this.
Sometimes there's not even info on who the judges were, so you don't even know like what they've done necessarily either.
Like that makes them qualified to be in a position of judgment.
Right. Yeah, you don't know, but the fact that you were able to talk to them and like even our film did get selected, and we were able to still have the critique with them, and we just wanted general feedback, like what made you guys like our film, and you could tell from the way that they were talking about everything in the film, that they watched it, they dissected it, they scored it properly, and it's cool because that doesn't happen a lot,
Well, I think it's nice that you guys can still take away the feeling of respect from the judges, like knowing that, they know damn well the work that got put into doing this, and they want to not have people be discouraged by their feedback, I'm sure. And I'm sure that's not easy as well.
And there's some film festivals that you'll submit to, and you kind of get the sense that maybe it's just a cash grab. Maybe they're just trying to collect submission fees and give away, some cheap trophy and be like, here, you won a festival. This one, it really seems like they want to promote the creators. Because you submit to the film, and your submission fee is like, what, $25?
Yeah.
And that's your all access pass to the entire festival.
Yeah.
You also get judging critiques.
And
so it's not like they're not making a whole lot of money for the value you get.
Yeah, and then you can also just tell everyone here respects you as who you are. I think a lot of times you show up to film festivals and you don't really talk to many people, and I don't know, this festival has felt so different because, and maybe it's a me thing, I just I talked to so many filmmakers this weekend, and I don't know, I was just able to bond with people that I haven't in the past. And maybe that was because they were showing films on a Saturday and a Sunday, and there was a whole weekend event, and not a lot of festivals do that. So
yeah, I can definitely say for myself, again, this first time I've attended the festival, first time I've directly had a participative role in the festival, which is, in and of itself is different, because I think as much as I want to continue to take my podcast to other festivals, it would be nice to just actually go to one and not have a project that I have to kind of monitor the whole time. Just purely be an audience member and just be like, I'm just kind of checking out, seeing what this is. I think that'd be really rewarding. But the thing I was going to say about events like this, and frankly any kind of conference style settings and whatnot, I am a pretty good conversationalist, and I like meeting people. Especially, that's one of the reasons I gravitate to movies, is because there's so many different perspectives and ideas and things you can connect with that outside of the film world. It's how am I going to meet somebody that has this unique life story and stuff like that. But that said, it takes me a while to kind of, as they say, get the social workings going, where it's okay, kind of get into network mode, where you're hi, you got to go up to people and do that whole song and dance and whatnot. Do you guys find that easy, just kind of going up to people and stuff like this, or is that intimidating?
I'll tell you, after this weekend, I'm kind of socially exhausted. Just and it's great conversation. There's after parties, you can go and network. In between screenings and stuff, you can talk to people and make new friends. But
I agree, especially after this weekend, because we've been here from 11 to 9, and we go to the after party, so maybe 11 to 2. And, networking is a huge part to making any connections in the industry. But it's tough, man, because it's just hard to talk to people, especially so many people. I mean, this, especially being here, you've probably talked to so many people. And it's just it's almost like a workout, man, but vocally. So you get a little bit exhausted.
Well, I can tell you guys, so I won't say where I work for my day job, just because I tend to keep those separate, but I can say I'm in a role where I actually do a lot of public speaking, so I do training. And so in a weird way, some of that skill sets actually do extend over to a place like this because you have to get used to talking at great lengths and still keeping your audience interested and not, talking down at someone. You're trying to keep it accessible and, be fun and, things like that. So, but it gets tiring. If I ever have like a week where I'm just like training like nonstop and it's like that's the week where that's all I'm doing basically. By the time the weekend rolls around, like your brain is just like, it's not that you're like anti people, you're not,
right?
But you need the reset.
Yeah, it's the same way on a film set though. Like we'll go through a weekend of like 12, 14-hour days, and it's all I can do to just crash in bed. But then I'm so thrilled to just sit in my cave and edit, alone for a week.
Do you get a lot of satisfaction out of editing?
What's that?
Do you get a lot of satisfaction out of the editing process?
I do, because that's where the story gets made, right?
Because some people are like, oh god, now I got to edit, and like because it can take a long time and be tedious. But I agree with you. I mean, that's when you shape it. You're taking the clay quite literally, and you're just like shape it. This is a stupid ass hand gesture.
You can't. If you're not watching
you can't see it.
Just throwing them in the wind.
He's like a maestro with his fake clay.
Yeah, I'm just doing this.
Michael and I are both editors, and we feud over editing platforms. But
do you guys have any go-tos for that specifically?
That's the constant debate in our relationship: is which editing platform is better.
I'm about to throw hands
He
here.
uses DaVinci. I use Adobe Premiere, which it's interesting because those programs don't love each other, so it's hard to like sort
What's
of
the one
work.
you use?
It's called DaVinci Resolve. It's put out by Blackmagic Designs, who also makes cameras that have a codec that works beautifully with DaVinci Resolve that I happen to shoot. And it's also just a superior platform.
It's a prettier looking platform, that's about it. Look, because here's the thing, man. You talk to anyone who's an editor, 90% of them are Adobe Premiere users. Right. Sort of the industry standard.
Just they were there first. But that doesn't mean they're best.
Anyway, Adobe Premiere is like the old dude that's been around for a long time who's probably barely alive. I will inevitably switch at some point, but it's just hard, man, because it's like all of my shortcuts are associated to Adobe Premiere. I know where to click. I am a fast editor, and that is because I've been in Adobe for like 10, 12 years. I don't know. I've been doing it forever. So
DaVinci Resolve, it's daunting to look at when you first open it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, once you get working on it, the workflow is so smooth. You have your editing, you have your color, you have your fusion, which you would call After Effects, and then you have your rendering and like sound mixing. It's all right there. There's no separate programs.
It's nice.
And with Adobe, there's everything. I mean, they don't have Photoshop though. So what about that? What are you going to do about Photoshop? When are you going to edit a photo? How are you going to do it?
I'm not a photography guy. And that's why it's a niche program, right? It's not for photographers. It's not for graphic designers. It's for filmmakers.
Yeah, no. I know, for myself, we're talking programs. I have no idea where this ranks as far as superiority level. I use Pinnacle Studio to do my...
I haven't heard of it.
I think it's primarily a video editor, but I use it for audio editing as well. They make it really easy to, specifically, like if I put in like references to other films, I sometimes like to put in sound bites when I'm not going to get them taken down for copyright reasons and shit like that. But it makes it really easy because I admit the one you mentioned, Adobe Premiere, as a graphic design major when I was in school, I certainly had familiarity with it. I used a lot of the Adobe Creative Cloud, but that one became a bit of a daunting one for me because there was so many different ways to kind of intercut and work it, and you can do a lot of really professional stuff with it, but I'd have to watch like hours upon hours of tutorial videos to kind of give myself comfortability with it, and I just feel like I never gave myself that time.
Well, if there's any perk, everything everywhere was actually cut in Adobe Premiere. So
I mean, that's cool.
But from an indie filmmaker perspective, I have no respect for any company that charges a subscription model.
Especially that much, dude.
Especially that much.
Well, because DaVinci is free.
DaVinci's either free, there's a free version, and there's a studio version, which is like full access to all the tools for
but you pay $300. You pay it once and then like you're done.
Right. Yeah. Well, even if you buy a Blackmagic camera or any like Blackmagic products, you get a license to DaVinci Resolve for the studio version.
Oh, okay. So that is nice. Yeah. Actually, I know, weirdly enough, because before we were recording this, I was telling you guys about these mics. These mics actually came with a free software licensing thing. I gotta, after we like wrap up on this, I might actually have it around somewhere, just if you guys are curious about it. I might try to find that, because I completely forgot I had it with this, and I have it on my computer. I just haven't dived into it. So, What do you, like, I guess I could keep talking to you guys for a while, but I don't want to take you completely away from the festival. But I guess what's coming next for you both?
So we have two big things for us. I have a production company called Century Films. It's a company that me and my girlfriend started. We're filmmaking duo together.
And apparently business partners.
And business partners in every
Oh, shit, good luck
They are
with
a
that.
powerhouse, dude.
Yeah.
So
Michael and Brittany, man.
Century, it stands for, so the Cen part in it is for cinema, and the Tree part in it is for Dollar Tree. That's where we met. We worked together. And so we created Century Films, which is where we host all of our productions, and that's our production company. And this year we are helping out on a feature film called Until the Music Fades. The director is Kevin Isaacson, who also has Cinematic Heartland as a podcast. But he reached out to us, and I'm going to be the DP. Brittany's going to be the assistant director. And then later on in the year, we're also doing our Christmas film, which we do every year. Mm-hmm. This is our 5th year, our big year, and we're doing a sort of Viking origin story of how Santa became Santa, told in a very violent way like Game of Thrones. So there's no Christmas magical. It's going to be violent. It's really cool because the connections we've got to producing this film has been unbelievable. We've talked to board members for a Renaissance fair that has all the period accurate clothing. We have someone who has a Viking boat that we're going to write a part of the story in. There's actually somewhere in Illinois a complete period accurate Viking lodge. Jesus. So we have a bunch of connections to make this very, very cool. So that's going to be our first feature film as Century Films in total. We've worked on feature films before, but this is our first.
I mean, go big or go home. You got some stuff to make that pop.
Yeah, we are very, very excited for this year. It's going to be a busy one though, because we also have a wedding company. So it's we're filming, doing weddings, and then everything in between. So.
You mean having a life and eating food and sleeping?
There's not much of that, to be honest.
What is that? Yeah, what the hell is that?
What is that, man? But yeah, that's us, and we're super excited for this year.
So for me, and Michael's also part of this, and the whole Century crew is part of this. Mm-hmm. I mentioned down in Ringo, I'm starting a film studio. Yeah. So there is it is an old sale barn where they used to sell livestock and auction them off and stuff. So there's livestock pens, and there's an auction ring, and there's some office spaces, and then my family owns this property. And they renovated it in 2018 and 19 and opened it up as kind of a community marketplace, sort of like Nubo in Cedar Rapids. They kind of wanted that vibe for small town Marengo. Mm-hmm. And it went really well, except COVID hit and then kind of shut it down, and then no one really picked up interest after that.
COVID has a habit of that.
Right. So the property is sitting kind of vacant right now. And so I'm going to be taking possession of it, and we're going to turn it into a full-fledged film production studio. Wow. Not just film, but media of any kind, really. So we're going to have...
That's quite the undertaking.
It is. It's going to be a lot of work. We're going to have spaces for film sets. We're going to have green and white cyc walls. We're going to have gear rental. We're going to have sound recording booths. We're going to have offices and editing spaces.
Yeah.
And there's also where the auction ring is. We're gonna turn that into a theater, so you can do film screenings, we can do film festivals, we can just throw our stuff up on a big screen and see how it looks. And we can do events. We can do just a whole lot. And the place, if you ever come see it, it has just endless potential.
I would love to come see it and maybe even find a way to get involved with it. Not trying to put you on the spot because we're
you're good.
Yeah, we're recording, so I got you on the hook. But I would love to learn more.
Yeah, this is going to be a space for all Iowans, all Midwest creators to come and just utilize resources. Yeah. Right? And we're going to build infrastructure for creators to come and do their thing. So if they need a location, if they need a piece of gear, if they need advice or crew or classes or education of any kind, we're going to be there, and we're going to have this just branching arms out in Iowa to just pull in resources for everybody.
Yeah, and it's it's something that I wish that we had when we were starting, and it's we want to be everything for everyone as best as we can. We want people to keep making movies in Iowa, man. It's hard. The tax incentives here are not the best for big budgets to come here. So we want to make it easy for independent artists to do anything, man.
So they have Renovo Studios up in Clear Lake.
Yes.
Right. And so they're a very similar concept to what they're doing, but their market is more targeted towards professional, super high end. Like they're running Arri Alexas and huge budget
digital
equipment
cyc
stuff.
walls and
right. They have like one of the volumes there, like LED, virtual production walls. We're going to be looking just to help like the indie small people.
Yeah, people
like
have
us,
like a $0 budget, which we're still on that, man. We've just been blessed. That he has this property and that his parents are cool for letting him, sort of accomplish his dream. But like, we have a bunch of talented people that are just interested in doing this, man. Because you don't, especially in an independent level, you don't get into this thinking you're going to make a lot of money, and that's not what we're after, man. We literally just want to help people make films, and that's the big goal of the studio. And this is actually the first time we've ever talked about it publicly.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
The name of it is going to be Mediaverse Studios.
Yeah,
that's kind of the name we all settled on. And so that's where we're going to go from here.
Well, the last question I have on this, and then I'll let you guys go. And again, I can't thank you enough for your time and really appreciate it. And this has been a fun conversation. I imagine there's got to be, you're going to need money to obviously make some of this stuff happen, right? Let's just be real. Are you going to be doing fundraising for this, or like how will you go about? Because it'll take growth and it's gonna take time. Yeah. But where do you kind of start for that? Because if the people that are listening could find a way to eventually one day help support something like this, that would be nice.
Yeah, so the money aspect of it is a big challenge. It's going to take a lot of money just to get. Yeah. And like the space is, I'll be owning it outright. I'll just be paying like property tax on it and stuff.
Sure.
But in terms of getting construction done on like all these film sets and getting it up to code, it's kind of a rundown place right now. I'm going to be going for a lot of grants, a lot of small business Iowa grants, a lot of creative grants. I'm going to talk to Produce Iowa about it.
Yeah.
So there's those opportunities, and then we're also going to just be looking for investment for people that want to become part of this thing, And so nothing's open right now, but we're definitely going to be doing rounds of investment for people that want to become part of this thing.
Yeah, right? No, I think that's super exciting, and again, I really hope that you're able to overcome any obstacles that come with it, and I'm sure they will be aplenty, right?
Like I said, we're all big problem solvers and very adaptable.
You gotta be scrappy.
And so,
and like the beautiful thing is that we have a group of about like 10, 15 people sometimes.
I was gonna ask like how many people you have got on board so
about
far.
10, 15.
And it's like if you look at our group, all of them vary from ages. Like we have like one of our best friends, Pat Gim, he's 70 years old, and then we have people that we work with that are super young. Like the age varies and also the experience varies. Like
that's good.
We have professional mechanics, professional construction people, and they all just happen to love movies and love the idea of what this can be. And we're gonna have a lot of volunteering when it comes to building these things. But these people are literally professional. Like they do it for their jobs, and they're just willing to help us because they want to help people make movies too.
Yep. Yeah. They come to the space, a lot of people come to the space and they just get so inspired by just the amount of potential it has. And it says, anything you need, I'll come help build stuff. I'll come fix that thing. I will just volunteer, whatever you need, because I want to be part of this. It's very wonderful to have this community behind us, and it makes this choice easy, right? It's like, I don't feel like I'm putting myself out there on a, without a net, because I have just this amazing group that's supportive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ideal scenario, perfect world, when would this be up?
Oh my God.
I need an exact day, hour, time.
I think originally we talked about hopefully sometime this year. Now that we've got more projects on the way, we don't know. We definitely want to start the process of building this thing this year. But hopefully by next year,
I also don't think, like, just from you describing it, it doesn't sound like it would be like once we have this complete list of stuff done, it will be ready. It's like it's
going to be staged.
Yeah, it's like you'll build it in stages. You'll have a point where it's like in a working mode, but it's still going in the background.
And that's what it's going to have to be, right?
Well, of course.
We can't like invest
you don't have that kind of time.
No,
too.
And from a business aspect, it makes sense to just get the 10% in that we can right now, right, and just start building some infrastructure where we can run it as a business and start getting some revenue, and then we can take that revenue and invest it back into the property and get the next stage started and stuff. So it's not it's going to be a while until it's 100% all the way there. That could be 2, 3, 5 years. But by the end of this year, I'm hoping we will have something established where people can come and use the space.
Makes sense, man. Well, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to come check it out. I'm not just saying that. I will.
Yeah, we'd love you to.
It would be really cool to see. But again, it's been a pleasure talking with the both of you. I got nothing else. This is a good conversation.
If I can just end it on here, I just say thank you for doing this, man. Independent filmmakers need a voice, and if anyone can help be an outlet for that, we appreciate it, man. And the more people, and I'm sure it's been cool to see all the community here. You know? And we appreciate you doing this, and I hope you continue to keep making podcasts, man, because we'll be here to listen to them.
Going through an experience like this gives you fuel. I mean, quite literally. So it does, and I ain't stopping. I'm crazy. So
right on, man. Well, thank you again for having us on. We appreciate you, and
absolutely.
We'll keep listening to your podcast. I'm excited to tune in and listen to the other stuff that you've done.
Appreciate it, man. I got some fun ones in there too. I got some silly ones in there. So.
Right on.
Can't wait to see it.